to my channel. My name is Tracy and I'm super excited to have you here today. It is Sunday Facebook Challenge Day. It's the 25th of July and our theme this week is going to be Christmas in July. I couldn't do a July without doing some sort of Christmas themed. So in the annual catalogue you can find the Christmas section from page 88 to 95. And we do have a couple of sets, or quite a few sets there, that are carried over from previous holiday catalogues or the last annual catalogue. So the stamp sets that I've chosen for my cards is the Perfectly Plaid, because I have this one and I love the sentiments. I also have the 𝐷𝐵𝐴 stamp set, which is great for so many different holidays. It covers quite a bit, and this one carried over from the mini catalogue or the holiday catalogue last year. I am using the designer series paper that is in that new annual catalogue. It is the Christmas themed designer series paper. It's called Tidings of Christmas. And I'm also using one of the stamp sets or the bundles in the annual catalogue. It's this one here, Artistically Inked. I have this one and I've just been dying to use it, so I thought what better thing to do than to use it on today's cards. Now I said cards, not card, because what I'm doing today is I'm going to make a bulk lot of cards, hopefully pretty quickly, and show you guys how to do bulk card making, how to make things a little bit easier for you. So I'm starting off with, I've chosen 5 of the designer series papers. I've chose coordinating cardstock, and we're using thick Whisper White card base as our card base. All the supplies I'm using for today's cards are in the description of this video. They are clickable links to my online store. You can also head over to my blog for all those measurements, and the supplies are listed over there as well. So one thing I do want to say is I wasn't 100% sure what I was creating on the day that I filmed this. There's some pros and cons to doing it this way, but I tell you what, I was able to watch Netflix while I was doing this and I had an enjoyable time. So if you have a ton of cards to create, sometimes having that background of watching something really does help. So this paper, this DSP, which is called Tidings of Christmas, it's absolutely really beautiful and perfect for those Christmas themed cards. What we're doing from the 6-inch piece, we're cutting off 2 strips, and both these strips measure 3/4 of an inch. So we're cutting off 2 strips of 3/4 of an inch, and then we're turning it the other way and cutting it in half at 3 inches. So that gives us 4 cuts to that piece of designer series paper, which makes 2 cards, for each of the 6x6 card designer series papers. Oh, that's a little confusing, isn't it? So then I wanted to use some of those coordinating colors from that designer series paper, and I have Sahara Sand, Evening Evergreen, Cherry Cobbler. What else do I have? I'm just trying to look. Soft Succulent, I think, is the other color. Okay, so I've used a few different stamp sets from my stamping stash that are in the annual catalogue. I have the Artistically Inked stamp set, which is not a Christmas stamp, but I've been dying to use it. I've used the Perfectly Plaid stamp set, which has been around for a few years, so you probably do have those. The 𝐷𝐵𝐴 stamp set, which was out in the holiday catalogue last year. And I'm also using the Label Me Lovely punch as well. So here I'm just deciding. So I've cut the matting pieces in the background there at 4 3/4 by 3 1/4. With that matting piece, we're going to use that Label Me Lovely punch to create our sentiment piece, and then I've also punched another one from the basic white thick cardstock. That is going to be our sentiment. So I'm just going through now, punching all those matting pieces, and this will save a ton of your cardstock as well. So we're going back through, and I'm just going to punch out all in our basic white thick, and that's for our sentiment. Now, because I can't do anything and leave it pretty plain, I've got to keep complicating everything. So here I am thinking, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? So we have our 2 pieces here. We have our designer series paper that is the coordinating one, popping that on the top. I've got some of those leftover pieces of cardstock from our matting, so I have them in all the colours. I think, yeah, I'm going to use those to break up that colour a little bit. But first, let's bring some embossing folders in. So this is the 𝒉𝒐𝒕 3D embossing folder in the annual catalogue. They are 2 mini ones. They can be found on page 155 of the annual catalogue. One is a snowflake theme, and the other one is like a pine tree theme. So I'm just going to cut those down. Now these measure 3/8 by 4 3/4, and that was our leftover pieces. So I'm just cutting them down at 3/8 of an inch. I think I said 3/4 before. 3/8 of an inch. And they're going to add a little bit of extra pop and texture to our card. Now, if you're in need of any of the supplies that I've used in today's card, you can purchase them in my online store. Use this month's hostess code and I'll send you not only a handmade card, but also a bundle tutorial. And I usually have a third bonus each month. So if you're interested in that, place an order and yeah, come join in on the fun. So we're just going to start layering these pieces together. This is time consuming, but once again, if you're watching Netflix and doing something else while you're doing it, you could do it while you're just watching TV. So sitting there talking to your husband or whatever you do of a night time. And because these products are available right now from the annual catalogue, you can get in early and really get started on your Christmas projects. So I'm using the artistically inked stamp set for that background. I think this is just so cute, and I've layered the colours together depending on their background cardstock. So we're starting off with Evening Evergreen, and I have 4 of those, so I'm going to stamp them off. I've also decided that I'm going to stamp off first. That way our second layer, which is the same colour, we're actually going to be able to see the sentiment or the tree or whatever we stamp the second time. So that's always a really great tip to remember, is if you stamp off your background, if you're using the same colour for your sentiment, you're going to be able to see it a lot easier. I've really mixed and matched my sentiments from stamp sets that are in the annual catalogue or that are available now. Like I said, the artistically inked stamp set is not even a Christmas one, so you can certainly use whatever you have in your stash.
RX Beats. Merry Christmas. Yeah.
All our elements are ready to go, so we're going to fold and score all our card bases. Then we can start popping it together. Now, I did say all our elements are done, but I do change it up again. Let me show you. So we're going to glue our DSP down to our matting piece. And I'm gluing that down to our card base. You could pop that up if you wanted to pop it up. I'm popping the Whisper White punched piece down onto our coloured card, and then we're going to just layer our DSP strip down. There is a little bit of an overhang, just cut it off really quick and easy. And then we have our embossed cardstock over the top. I could have left it like that, and I probably should have, but anyway, let's add a bit more layers. I've grabbed that die from the artistically inked bundle, and one of these cuts out 2. I've cut these in half, if that makes sense. So we're adding 2 of these. One of these pieces cuts into 2 for our card bases. Alright, so we're going to layer up our sentiment punched piece, and I've just glued down those leaf. And I've kept all those little pieces in there. I think that looks good. So I'm just going to bring you through all the cards now because we are done. I'm not sure how long it took me all up. I think just deciding on the card probably took the longest, but you could definitely step these up a little bit more. You could scale them right back and it would look really good. This one here, that DSP was cut the wrong way. I wasn't watching when I was cutting that, so I had to pop it to the side. But these have all turned out really, really cute, and I'd be happy to send these off to anyone. I hope I've inspired you to start looking or starting your Christmas stash. I can tell you Christmas will be here before we know it, and it really doesn't take long. So hopefully this has helped you out. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed today's cards. If you have, please give me a thumbs up, and I'd love it if you left me a comment. If you haven't hit subscribe, could you do that for me as well? I'm still working my goal to get 1,000 subscribers. Now, you should have been able to get a few tips and tricks along the way with these cards. Sometimes it's so hard to create a simple card, and I don't think I'm any different to any other crafter out there. I think really simple cards are the hardest to create, and I just kept adding. And if you're creating a lot of cards like this, maybe don't add so many elements. Make it really simple. So don't do what I've done. I'll do what I've done and enjoy these lovely cards. I'll be back with another video really soon, so hopefully you can come back and join me for that. Until then, have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Are you hearing my words I'm saying to you? 'Cause I'm looking in your eyes.